Today I'm going to show you how to diagnose and fix a power supply for a Sony TV with model number XR-77A80J. The issue the customer was experiencing was a 4-blink error code. So let's take a closer look at the power supply and see if it is at fault. For bench testing purposes, I have a little jumper set up that will automatically trigger the power supply to fully turn on. Let's plug it in. I just heard it click. And you know what? I'm hearing a little hissing sound. All right, so first let's go ahead and check in DC volts, our filter capacitor. Okay, it looks like we do have a little bit of oscillation occurring, and that oscillation is happening at the exact same time that we get that little whining sound. Yep, it's going up and down the moment we hear that whining sound. Let's check to see if we're getting our VDRV voltage. I'm assuming the answer is going to be no. No, we're not getting it. Let's check over here. Do we get our 12 volts? We do have our 12 volts, but our VDRV voltage is not present. It should be, I think, 24 volts or so. All right, let's unplug it. Now, the reason that we were checking the VDRV voltage is because that is what powers on the LED backlights for the TV. And when a 4-blink error code occurs, it's either because the backlight has failed or the power going to the backlight is no longer present. Now, this is an OLED TV, so it doesn't technically have backlights, but it is embedded with the panel. We're going to discharge the power supply. So our output voltage is going to be over here. I'm going to put one lead there. We are in continuity mode. And just to show you, our output voltage comes from these two transistors over here. So we have continuity, which confirms that these transistors, if they have failed, will not provide the correct output voltage, which we're currently not getting. Now let's do a continuity check on the transistors. And look at that, we have what looks to be like continuity and actually a dead short because we have less than 1 ohm, 0.5 ohms, which to me indicates that those transistors that provide the power to the backlight are shorted and will need to be replaced. So my next step is to remove them out of circuit. We will recheck them to confirm that the short is coming from the transistors themselves and not something else from the power supply. All right, we'll go ahead and unscrew the transistors. To remove the transistors, we're going to start by adding solder to the legs to get good flow. And we'll notice this center leg here is not having great flow. It's requiring a little extra heat. Okay, this first one over here is on a very small pad, which means it requires a lot less heat transfer to desolder. So this one we should be able to just go right into it, desolder it, and have no problems. Okay, and yep, look at that, we can move the pin. This next one also has okay flow. Not as good as the first one. So we're going to hang out on it for a little longer, and now we'll desolder. And so that's just kind of almost a preheat, if you will, of the pad and the joint. Let's see, was that enough? I don't think so, but yeah, I can tell there's still a little bit of solder in there. Maybe I can break it off, but yeah, I think I just did. There we go. Okay, so now it's free and clear. And we're now left with our last joint over here. Let's see. I'm grabbing the transistor from the other side, and it just fell through. There we go. So for this next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with the easy joint that is on the smallest pad. If you have a defective power supply that you would like to send in for us to fix, we do offer flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. The services are available on our website, which we'll have linked in the video description down below. We'll confirm, yep, it's loose. So the board is currently elevated off of the table. We're adding a little solder to both joints. Oh, and the component just fell through. So now's our opportunity to desolder while the board's still very hot. And there we go, much faster. All right, so we are in continuity mode still. We have a beep when we have continuity. We're not supposed to see continuity. No continuity on the first one. And second. Okay, we have continuity between the middle leg and the left leg here, but not to the right. So this transistor here on the left has no continuity and no continuity, so it's a good transistor. And this one has no continuity, but does have continuity, which means it's shorted. So only one of the two was shorted. Let's repeat the test on the board to make sure that the short is gone. No beep. Oh, we had a beep for a split second, but it went away. And now it's showing about 300 ohms, which actually is what we expect on a good working board. So that's okay. Let's check this one out. No beep, and no beep. So that does confirm it. One of those two transistors was shorted and the cause of the fault. Now, because they are in parallel, we do want to replace both of them together. So using isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip, we are going to remove the old thermal paste. It is starting to dry out. And we're going to replace it with some higher quality MX4. So these are going to be my replacement transistors. And as you can see, the middle leg does need to be folded forward. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm just going to use my needle nose pliers to push it forward a little bit. We'll make sure it fits. And it does. We'll repeat the process one more time. Now that my transistors are prepped, we'll add the MX4 thermal paste to the back. And typically I like to use one transistor to spread the thermal paste onto the other. We can now feed it through. And I like to hand tighten these first to make sure that they're properly threaded. And now we can tighten them up with the screwdriver. And we want to make sure they are very nice and snug and making perfect contact with the heatsink. All right, what we'll do next is start by soldering down the larger pads that require a little more heat. And there we go. Okay, we can now cut off the excess of the pins. Move over to the next one. Same deal, we'll start by adding a little solder. We'll do a quick little cleanup, get rid of some of the spent flux. Okay, and that's our final product. Looks pretty good, and looks pretty good. We are back in continuity mode. We have a beep when we have continuity. So let's see. We still have continuity from the VDRV to our transistors, which is what we expect, but do we still have our short? So just as we did before, a beep for a split second, and now it's rising up to almost 300 ohms. Oh, there we go. And on the other leg of the transistor we just replaced, it's open, it seems. Well, it's not open, but it's higher than 300 ohms, which is what we care about right now. And also a quick beep, and it's rising to that 300 ohms-ish. 320, 330. Okay, so our dead short, which was less than 0.5 ohms originally, is now gone. So I believe it is safe for us to power it on and do now voltage checks. So we're going to DC mode. We're plugging in the board, Got to click. Am I getting a hissing sound? I'm not hearing the hissing sound. All right. And if we take a quick voltage check on our filter capacitor, we are getting 390 volts. If you recall, before the repair, we were getting that oscillation every 5 seconds or so in conjunction with that hissing sound. And now it looks to be extremely steady, which is good. Let's check our VDRV, which is the voltage output to our backlights. And originally I said I thought it was about to be 24 volts, but it's 21.37, which I believe is correct. That is the expected output voltage, which is the exact same voltage we're going to get from the transistor that we replaced over here. Yep, and that's correct. We should obviously still get our 12 volts, 12.7, that's present, that's good. So that confirms it. We do have another successful repair. If you found the video helpful or useful, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.